Alright guys, the next paper that we're going to start now is financial management. I told you in the costing class that financial management, guys, is clubbed with strategic management. The weightage of financial management is 50 marks. The weightage of strategic management is 50 marks. FM is a practical paper, SM is a theory paper. Obviously, so FM will be scoring, guys. MCQs में 15 marks will be from FM, 15 marks will be from SM. The subjective paper is going to be for 35 marks. Out of this 35 marks subjective of FM, the question 1 is compulsory. It will be for 15 marks. Usually they give 3 questions of 5 marks each. And then guys, question 2 to question 4 will be of 10 marks each, out of which you're supposed to answer 2 questions. इसमें भी बेटा question 2 and question 3 are practical questions usually, and question 4 will be a theory question. We can skip the theory part if you're very good at practical part, but in case the practical question is complicated, we will have to rely on theory. That is why it is mandatory बेटा that we do theory here as well. यहाँ पे 50-50 मार्क का है बोल के बेटा थोड़ा पेपर पैटर्न अलग है, but then it is more or less similar to the other papers that we have. Now, I will not be starting with the definition of financial management in today's class, guys. सुपारी खाना हो गया तेरा? क्या विमल खा रहा है? हाँ, चेने. अरे 160 चुप. All right, guys. We will be starting with the concept of time value of money, something that you've done at CA foundation level. I know you guys are experts in it, but I will have to assume that you did not do anything at the foundation level. Correct, beta? Yes. So we will be doing time value of money over the next 2 days. It is very, very important that we understand the basics, right? Because your entire syllabus will be based on time value of money only. You know this chapter or you know the basics, right? It will be very easy to understand the subsequent topics. So what do you understand by time value of money? वहाँ पे कॉर्नर में कोई और था बेटा, तो अभी आया क्या? हाँ, अभी आया. हाँ, ठीक है. वहाँ पे जो भी कॉर्नर में बेटा उसको क्वेश्चन पूछता बेटा मैं, बोल. Value of a rupee in today's date, which is going to be received in a future date. Very good बेटा. That's the definition of the word present value. Now, time value of money. अरे सबको मालूम है, अभी बोलो कुछ तो खत्म करो. The decrease in the purchasing power. Huh? The decrease in the purchasing power of money with the passage of time and inflation. You used to taking a nap in the daytime every day? Yes. Face looks a little sleepy better, and that's like typical. That's not like the typical Sesha. Sesha is supposed to concentrate, is supposed to answer. Take care. If Sesha itself is sleepy as such, better imagine what should the others be doing. He is a standard, guys. He is the benchmark. They should know what are they comparing themselves with. Kaun hai Sesha? Alright, guys. So when you say time value of money, the value of money, the purchasing power of money will never remain constant. It will keep changing as such, guys, primarily on account of inflation. If a particular product is costing you 100 rupees today, it need not cost 100 rupees a year later. It need not cost 100 rupees 2 years later, 3 years later. The price of the commodity usually will keep increasing. India being a developing country as such, we will have an inflation of about 5-6%, though our long-term target is 4% plus or minus 2%. We are comfortable with the inflation being in the range of 2% to 6%, but we will still want it to be closer to an average target of 4%, not closer to the upper limit of 6%. When there is inflation, when the prices of commodities constantly keep increasing, guys, constantly keep rising, the value of goods or the quantity of goods that you will be able to buy with a given amount of money will never remain constant. It will change. जैसे if a particular product, शक्ल सीधी बना वरना मार खाएगी तुझसे मैं बोल रहा हूँ मैं. If a particular खुशी तूने बेटा तेरे सामने वाली खुशहाली. If a particular product as such, guys, is costing, let's say beta 100 rupees per kg, and a year later the cost of that product is 120 rupees a kg, With an amount of 1000 rupees or such, guys, you will be able to buy 10 kgs today. And if the price turns out to be 120 better, the quantity of goods that you will be able to buy will only be 8.33 kgs. This is purchasing power of money. 1000 rupees would have bought you 10 kgs earlier, but the same 1000 rupees will now buy you only 8.33 kgs. The value of money is not going to remain constant. There were times, Asad beta, 2008, 2009, when 9,000 rupees would have bought you 10 grams of gold. The same 9,000 rupees today will not even buy you 1 gram of gold. The purchasing power of money changes. Different commodities will undergo a different price increases. Are you all clear about this? Why are we concerned about purchasing power of money? Every financial decision that we take will involve cash flows arising at different points of time. You invest in a business today, let's say in year 2025, you will receive cash flows against the investment over multiple years. Cash flows may rise in 2026, 2027, 28, 29, so on. Let's say you invest a lakh rupees beta in the year 2025. In the year 2026, you receive 20,000. In the year 2027, you receive 30,000. In the year 28, you receive 30,000. In the year 29, you receive 40,000. The total cash flow that I have received over the next 4 years as such beta is 1,20,000. I have invested 1 lakh today. I am receiving 1,20,000 over the next 4 years as such, guys. The amount of profit that I've made is, that's accounting profit. That's not financial profit. Accounts will tell us better that we have made a profit of 20,000 because by investing a lakh rupees, we are getting an amount of 1,20,000. Financial management ये बोलता है because the cash flows are not arising at same point of time, it is absolutely useless to compare 1,20,000 directly with 1 lakh. The value of 20,000 that you're going to receive after a year is not the same as 20,000 invested today. The value of 40,000 that you're going to receive after 4 years will not be the same as 40,000 invested on the current date. The value of money will keep changing. Please do not compare those cash flows directly. You will have to bring them to a common time base, which is done through the concept of compounding and discounting. We will either compute present values or we will compute accumulated balances. Ensure that we bring all the cash flows to a common time base. Once we bring all the cash flows to a common time base, those cash flows can be compared directly. That's the whole intent here. Are we clear about this? Time value of money basically talks about purchasing power of money. Purchasing power of money is the quantity of goods that you will be able to buy with a given amount of money. Are we clear about this? Developing countries, usually guys, you will always have inflation. That means there will always be an increase in the price of commodities. No doubt about it. And we are happy about the fact that there is inflation. We do not want higher inflation, but then we want some amount of inflation. Are we clear about this, guys? Abhi beta, we have the concept of interest introduced in order to compensate for decline in the purchasing power of money. You give 100 rupees to a friend, he's going to repay you after a year. You will want some compensation in order to ensure that your purchasing power does not decline. Today, if you're able to buy 1 kg of a product as such better, you will want to ensure that you're still able to purchase 1 kg of a product a year later. Jaise guys, if you talk about IT freshers or if you talk about CA freshers, guys, 2009, 2010, when we cleared as such better, the average salary of a fresher chart accountant was about 7 lakhs. Fast forward to 2025-26, the average salaries of a fresher in those same organizations are still in the range of 10 to 11 lakhs. I'm talking about those companies that were offering. There are entities that were offering 15 lakhs earlier also. There are entities that offered that. The companies that were offering 6 to 7 lakhs back then are still offering in the range of 9 to 10 or in certain cases 10 to 11. Which means that the purchasing power has actually declined drastically. The quantity of goods that you could have purchased with 6 lakhs back then and the quantity of goods that you will be buying with 10 lakhs today will not be the same. Even with 10 lakhs today, the quantity of goods that you'll be buying beta would be far lesser. It will not be the same. Are you understanding this? So, if you want to compare cash flows, you have learned this, guys, in CA Foundation as time value of money, also as index numbers, deflating and inflating. Cash flows that arise at different points of time. I'll talk about that later. Abhi ke liye just understand the meaning of the word purchasing power of money and time value of money. Are we all clear about this? So, in order to compensate for decline in the purchasing power of money, we have the concept of interest. Compensation. Are we clear about this? Now, interest, guys, depends on multiple factors. The primary factor that affects interest in any economy is एक आंसर बोल बे इंटरेस्ट रेट्स किस फैक्टर पे डिपेंड करते हैं 007 गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड बारह दो गाइस प्राइस मनी सप्लाई डिमांड एंड सप्लाई वेरी गुड बेटा एक सेकेंड बेटा आई कीप राइटिंग दिस वन इज डिमांड एंड सप्लाई किसका of what of money which product demand and supply obviously of money we're talking about interest rates guys yes beta तू क्या बोल रहा है बेटा तेरा बॉन्ड जल्दी बोल एक बार हाँ ठीक है अभी लिख रहा हूं मैं गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड आई कम टू दैट एनी अदर फैक्टर गाइस हाँ thank you for remembering something that I thought at least I'll write that first because I thought it inflation anything else foreign exchange rate तो explain करेगा बेटा मेरे को It's usually the other way around. The interest rates will have an impact on currency rates, but we will not change interest rates to influence the currency rates. It's never the other way around as beta, but ठीक है सब लोग बोल रहे हैं I should write this also. रौनक बोल रहा है इसीलिए हाँ रौनक ही था ना तेरा नाम है अभी भी मतलब Anything else guys? The amount of profit who are they here the ones who are lending the money so if I want a profit of 95% I will tell you pay interest of 95% undoubtedly guys the ones who's lending money will want a higher return the ones who's borrowing money will want a lesser cost so let's start like this beta negotiations let's say beta that one of you is a lender one of you is a borrower the borrower says I will want to borrow money at 0.5% per annum lender starts with 99.5% per annum risk तीन ए वाले नहीं रे बेवकूफ क्रेडिट रेटिंग AAA तीन ए वाले कंपनी का थे imagine beta the companies have joined school they've got 3 grades continuously A and they become 3 A wali company all right guys pay attention now the most important factor that influences the interest rates in any economy guys is the inflation rate the central banks of different economies are responsible to fix short term interest rates that prevail in their economy जैसे RBI in India guys will fix something called as repo rate, reverse repo rate, standing deposit facility. There are few rates that RBI will fix. These rates will have an impact on the other interest rates that are going to prevail in the economy. Inflation in India was about 6%, 7% last year. Our repo rate touched a peak of 6.5%. Inflation is easing down, but we're still not sure if this is a temporary phenomenon, guys, or is it going to remain at these levels. Just say last month inflation was as low as 1.7% only. So if the inflation is significantly lower, RBI guys will obviously try to reduce the interest rates. They got down the repo rate guys from 6.5% to 5.5%. We still believe as such beta that there is going to be a further reduction if the inflation remains at these levels. We cannot drastically change interest rates as such guys overnight. We cannot say 6.5% directly 3.5%. फिर next quarter वापस interest inflation बढ़ गया तो 7% बोल के. Things cannot change like that. So they are trying to reduce it gradually. Why does RBI fixes interest rates on the basis of inflation rates? To control every कौन बोल रहा है बेटा हाँ to control money supply. Every central bank will have a certain objective of a monetary policy. The primary objective of the monetary policy of RBI is inflation targeting. Whatever monetary policy decisions that they take regarding the supply of money in the market, it should be revolving around controlling inflation. They should ensure that inflation remains in that category of 4%, जो भी है बेटा 4% ही बोला था ना मैं, हाँ 4% plus or minus 2% as such guys. So if the inflation is increasing, that means people have excess money, people are spending more, and that is increasing the prices of the commodities. If that is the case, RBI will want to increase the interest rate so that the cost of borrowing for individuals increase. If the cost of borrowings will increase, the people will spend lesser amount of money. Likewise, if inflation has come down as such better, that means people have lesser amount of money, they're not spending more as such guys. So you will want to reduce the cost of borrowing. If the cost of borrowing is reduced as such better interest rates, automatically people will be willing to borrow more and spend more. That is their way of controlling as such guys the overall growth indirectly through interest rates that prevail in the economy. Are we clear about this? So are we all clear about this guys? That is a primary factor that is influencing. So RBI कौन सा interest rate fix करता है इंडिया में? Only what is repo rate? Repurchase. The literal meaning of the word repo beta is repurchase agreement. It is a rate at which banks will borrow from RBI by selling government securities to RBI with a promise to buy it back on a later date. It's a sale and a repurchase agreement. Reverse repo as such guys is where RBI will sell government securities as such guys to banks, and then banks are going to sell it back as such beta to RBI on a later date. Usually it is from 1 day to 14 days. So think of this, that government securities are being used as a collateral for borrowing money from RBI. Banks are offering government securities that they own as collateral to RBI, and they are borrowing money. Right now the rate that is prevailing is 5.5%. Reverse repo ka concept has become a little redundant. Reverse repo was not revised as such guys from a considerable amount of time. Instead, RBI replaced it with something called as a standing deposit facility, SDF. SDF and reverse repo have a very minor difference. Under SDF, RBI does not have to sell any government securities to bank. So basically beta, banks can deposit money with RBI, but there is no collateral. RBI is not giving them any collateral. Under reverse repo, RBI was giving them a, agar banks ke paas surplus paisa hai, they will not want to keep those funds idle. What will they do? Deposit with RBI. When banks deposit with RBI, who has to give collateral? RBI has to give collateral guys. This is under reverse repo. Standing deposit facility as such guys, SDF, is without collateral. Banks will simply park that extra money as such better with RBI. RBI will give them whatever is the interest rate. The difference between repo rate and standing deposit facility rate is always 0.25%. The gap is increased sometimes when RBI does not want banks to park their excess money with RBI. Let's say repo rate is 5.5%. RBI is unhappy about the fact that banks are parking their money with RBI. Right now, standing deposit facility rate is, let's say, 5.25%. They want to discourage them from depositing money with RBI, and they want in turn to use that money to lend loans. Let's say they reduce it to 5%. As the gap between repo and reverse repo increases, banks will not find it profitable to deposit with RBI. Instead, they will use that money to fund more loans. They do that guys. Just say there was a point 2021 where the gap between these rates was 0.4%. Average over a very long period is always 0.25%. Sometimes the gap is increased where RBI is not happy about the fact that they're simply parking their extra money. Banks on an average park about 3 lakh crore rupees with RBI. The surplus funds that lie with banks as such guys on a daily basis is about 3 lakh crore rupees. You will get all of this information on RBI website. Just go to RBI website as such beta. They will have this disclosure, releases, public releases on a daily basis. They will give you last 1 week ka data continuously as such guys. They will tell us what is the amount of money that is being deposited by banks with RBI. What is the amount that they're also borrowing under repo. Everything will be given. Repo may be limited. They cannot borrow left, right and center. The limit is 1% of demand and time liabilities. You do not have to worry about technicalities. If they exceed that limit, they can still borrow from RBI, but the rate will be 5.75%. Under repo, they can borrow at 5.5%. Marginal facility bolke aur ek hai beta. Under that marginal facility, they will be able to borrow, but at 0.25% more rate than repo rate. But anyways guys, all of this is to tell you that RBI fixes repo rate, RBI fixes reverse repo rate, standing deposit rate. Okay. If RBI is reducing repo rate from 6.5% to 5.5%, think of this, that banks ka borrowing cost is reducing. If banks borrowing cost is reducing, they in turn will offer loans at a lesser rate. Jaise housing loans are fixed to repo rate. Most of the housing loans are floating interest rate loans. The interest that you pay to the banker guys will be repo rate plus a certain markup. And that markup will depend upon the risk involved. It will depend on individual to individual. किसको loan दे रहे, that will determine that spread. ठीक है? As of now, the housing interest rate rolls are in the range of 6.9 to 7.3, 7.4%. 1 year back, housing interest rates were about 8.5, 8.6%. Why did they reduce? Because repo itself came down from 6.5% to 5.5%. So how does RBI cannot dictate long-term interest rates that prevail in the market? RBI can only influence those rates. कैसे influence करेगा? This is how. They will change repo rate. The repo rate in turn will have an impact on the long-term interest rates that are prevailing in the market. If repo rate is 5.5%, beta, government borrowing rate also will be closer to 5.5%. Government raises money for short-term periods, treasury bills जो बोलते हैं, it will be closer to 5.5%. If repo rate reduces further to 5%, government treasury bill rate also will reduce. Are we clear about this? So that is one factor. RBI repo rate क्या basis पे decide करेगा? Inflation, but they will also keep growth prospects in mind. If inflation is very high and they increase interest rates as such, guys, it will also have an impact on. If interest rates are increased as such, guys, will it have an impact on growth? If it is impacting growth as such, beta, it in turn will impact the employment opportunities. So it will have an impact on all the fields. That is why they have to be very careful about changing interest rates. Post-COVID, there was way too high inflation as such, beta, in all the countries, and that is why majority of the countries increase their interest rates. I explained all about all of this in CA Foundation, just telling you again as such, beta, जैसे US के short term interest rates used to be around 0.25% to 0.5%. Now they are around 4%. Now this is also post the reduction process started. Until last year, no one reduced. Abhi reduction has slowly started as such, beta. They increased the interest rates because the inflation in all of these countries was very high. Are you getting the point? So what is the primary factor that affects the interest rates is the inflation factor. And then there is demand and supply of money, guys. Liquidity in the market will determine how much should be the interest rate that prevails. Higher demand for money, guys, ये हाथ ना ऐसे रखे मत बैठो, वरना घर भी जाऊंगा direct. All right, applies to every student. The demand and supply of money, guys, will also have an impact on the interest rates that prevail. If there's a higher demand for money and the lesser supply, interest rates will increase. There's a higher supply of money and a lesser demand as such, beta, the interest rates will decline. ऐसे सोचो beta that there are people ready to lend 10,000 crore rupees, but the number of people beta who want to borrow, the amount that people want to borrow is only 1,000 crore rupees. Don't you think beta the borrowers will now dictate the terms? They will obviously want to borrow at a lesser rate. Are we understanding this? Demand and supply. जैसे बेटा demonetization, remember demonetization 2000 तुम बच्चे थे बेटा छोटे छोटे, हाँ तुम कहाँ demonetization, तुम चॉकलेट खरीदने जाते होंगे 10 रुपए की तब. So during demonetization as such beta, about 20 to 25 lakh crore rupees entered the official banking sector. This is the currency that was lying in the form of cash as such, guys. People had to deposit all of this currency into banks. Is there a higher liquidity coming into the banking system? If so much liquidity comes at once into the banking system as such, guys, it will disturb the interest rates that are prevailing in the market. Banks will want to deposit that money at whatever interest rates that they get. Obviously, that will reduce the interest rates that are prevailing in the market. RBI cannot let that happen. RBI intervened. There is something called as CRR, cash reserve ratio. CRR, guys, they have to deposit a fixed percentage of their deposits with bank, demand and time liabilities. Let's just use the word deposits with RBI as such, guys. RBI increased the ratio of this CRR to 100%. RBI says whatever money that you're receiving during this phase as a part of demonetization, chupchap deposit with us. You are not going to retain any of those balances. Why? To control the supply of money. जितना भी liquidity market में आ रहा था, RBI immediately removed that liquidity from the market. So demand and supply of money is also going to affect the interest rates. Are we clear? 2018 NBFCs के लिए liquidity crunch था. They were not able to borrow because there was not enough money in the market, and the cost of borrowing for NBFCs increased. RBI cannot just sit and watch. RBI gave loans to banks at the rate of 4% and said, we will be giving you this loans at 4% only under one condition. Use this money to give loans to NBFCs. They wanted to ensure that the supply of money for NBFCs continue. It does not reduce, because agar NBFCs are also a part of the financial system of the economy, guys. If they crash, it is obviously going to have an impact on the other financial systems. So that is why RBI will in turn interfere. Are we all understanding? And then beta, government borrowings. Government borrowings is also going to influence the amount of interest rate. Let us say beta that there are elections going on in a state. One party comes and says, I will offer 2 crore government jobs. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया ना कौन सी पार्टी की बात कर रहा हूँ. We will offer 2 crore government, not Telangana guys. अभी elections कहाँ चल रहे बेटा? वहीं की तो बात कर रहा हूँ. The opposition says will offer 2 crore government jobs as such, guys. To offer 2 crore government jobs, the amount of budget that they need per year is 12 lakh crores. Apart from all the other expenses that they have to incur, the total budget of Bihar is 3 lakh crores. And this is already 70 to 80% of this amount is going in the form of salaries and interest payments. And plus, baki ka amount is also going in the form of subsidies. There are farm subsidies and other subsidies as such that are given. There is very little space that is available. It's maybe deficit rehta har ek state ka, about 4 to 5%. If they actually offer 2 crore jobs as such, guys, what will happen? Huh? Nahi de sakte. Pehle to. It is just not possible as such beta that you accommodate everyone and say let's work. साथ में बैठेंगे यहाँ पे, घर से निकलते निकलते जरा पत्ते लेके आना मत भूलना, क्योंकि काम भी तो रहना ना यहाँ पे सबके लिए. अरे पागल, दिन भर बैठ के क्या करेंगे वहाँ पे? You shouldn't you put the time to productive use as such, guys. I'm not telling you playing cards is productive usage as such, guys. Play some other board game, all right? Chess खेलो, दिमाग का खेल. But उसके लिए वो तेरे को देख के ही बेटा मैं पत्ते बोला मैं. But sorry guys, पत्ते के लिए भी तो दिमाग रहना ना. Yes. Anyways guys, coming back to this. सांप सीढ़ी खेलते कहते लोग. Snake and ladders guys. जिसको नहीं मालूम है. हाँ. Back guys. So government borrowings, how will it have an impact on interest rates? If the government is falling short of funds, they will have to borrow money. If they borrow money as such guys excessively, the risk increases. Whether it is a company, whether it is an individual, whether it is government, everyone should be assessed on the basis of their repayment capability. Excessive borrowing guys would impact their repayment capability. How are they going to repay? It is not just about borrow better. You should have a repayment plan also. हाँ या ना? जैसे the credit, I will talk about credit rating. India का international markets में BBB है. ठीक है? Slightly better than default. जबकि we are way better in terms of fiscal discipline, way better, but फिर भी because of other factors as such guys. Now if the government is borrowing continuously more, this will in turn increase the government borrowing rate, and government borrowing rate is considered to be a risk-free rate in the economy. This in turn will shoot up all the other interest rates. जैसे ही budget आता है बेटा, and if there's a higher deficit being shown in the budget, वहाँ पे government bond के yields बढ़ते जाते हैं, because they know government will have to borrow money at a higher rate. But if there's a lesser fiscal deficit, you will see immediately that the rates come down. Are we clear about this? Government bonds will not influence. The amount of government borrowing is going to have an impact on the interest rates that prevail in the economy. Are we all clear? And then the policy decisions. All these factors will have a direct or an indirect impact on the interest rates that prevail. Any doubt in this? Companies better with a very high amount of inflation will have a very high interest rates. Economies better. There are few countries that have a risk-free rate of 37-38%. This is the interest rate that prevails. There is but I think Iran has an interest rate of 37-38% because of hyperinflations. When the inflation itself is about 40%, 42% as better, the risk-free interest rate that prevails is also very, very high. The short-term interest rate that prevails is significantly higher. You can search it as better. The countries with hyperinflationary conditions, so obviously the rates that will prevail better will be significantly higher. Pakistan had a rate of 16-17% as better last year when they did not have any amount of funding available. So it will have an impact. Are we very clear about this? Within an economy as such, बेटा, the interest rates will differ for every individual, for every company. अभी बेटा, अभी तुमको क्या बोला मैं? Repo rate कितना है? 5.5%. Government borrowing rate as such, guys, short-term borrowing rate is about 5.6 to 5.7, 5.8%. ठीक है? Government is able to borrow at a rate of 5.6, 5.7%. Within an economy, every individual, every company will not be able to borrow at the same rate. This is where we will come to the point of a company getting 3 A's. There is something called as credit worthiness, repayment capability. You determine this repayment capability of any individual, any entity as such, beta, by undertaking a credit rating. Individuals ke liye credit score, for corporates it is credit rating. The credit rating of a company, beta, ranges from getting 3 A's to 2 A's, 1 A, getting 3 B's, 2 B's, 1 B, and 3 C's default. C है ही नहीं बेटा, B के बाद में directly default. If the credit rating of a company is AAA, that means beta, the company has a very good credit rating. The company has a very good financial condition as such, beta, and there is no likelihood that the company is going to default. Because the risk is less, these companies will be able to borrow at a lesser rate. Lesser the amount of risk, lesser will be their borrowing rate. Higher the amount of risk, higher will be their borrowing rate. If you are putting in your money in debt of Vodafone India or in debt of Bharti Airtel, guys, where will you be expecting a higher return? Vodafone. No, guys, you will be expecting a higher return from Vodafone. Only then you will be willing to put your money in Vodafone because it has a higher amount of debt. The probability, beta, that you will not be getting back your money is higher when you deposit in debt of Vodafone. The probability that you will get back your money in full is pretty much high, guys. The risk of default is negligible with Bharti Airtel. So if you are putting your money in debentures of Bharti Airtel, you will be expecting a lesser return because you're taking a lesser amount of risk. If you are taking a higher amount of risk, obviously, beta, you will be expecting a higher return. I gave this example of you betting on a cricket match. If you're putting your money in a bank deposit or you're betting your money, beta, on a cricket match, where will you be expecting a higher return? The greed for that higher return is what is making you bet on a cricket match. You will not be expecting a higher return from a fixed deposit and a lower return, guys, from a cricket match. Are we clear? There can be persons of unsound mind, but here, guys, sound mein aa raha hai, nahi aa raha hai? So this credit rating will determine the rate at which the companies can borrow. If it's a AAA rated company, guys, they will be able to borrow at a lesser rate. Just say right now, a AAA rated company is able to borrow at a rate of 6.7 to 6.8%, 7% samjho. A AA rated company is able to borrow at a rate of 7.6 to 8%, and A rated company is able to borrow at 9%, 9.5%. 1 year back, an A rated company was able to borrow at about 10%, 10.5%. So if the credit rating as such, guys, is less, they will be able to borrow at a higher rate. If the credit rating is better, they will be able to borrow at a lesser rate. Again, an article that I read yesterday said that Shapur Palonji Group, SPG, this group, guys, raised an amount of $3 billion this year or last year at an interest rate of 19.5%. They have borrowed money at an interest rate of 19.5%. The company has huge amount of debt. It is not able to repay their debt. That means the financial condition of the company is very bad. Whoever is putting their money in this group knows that the risk of default is very high. That is why, beta, they would want a higher return, at least till that point. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, guys? Shapur Palonji Group was banking on the fact that Tata Sons will get listed because they are a shareholder of Tata Sons. But Tata Sons has now applied to RBI asking them to review the. Do you follow the story or nahi? Chhod do. We'll talk about it later, guys. Abhi zarat nahi hai. Bhul jao. They have higher amount of debt. That is why they're able to borrow at a higher rate. Are we all clear about this? So the risk factor, beta, will determine interest rates prevailing within an economy as to at what rate will different individuals, different companies be able to borrow money. Jaise companies have credit rating, individuals will have credit score ranging from 300 to 900. Many banks will lend only if the credit score is above 750 or if the credit score is above 800. If the credit score is above 800 as such, beta, you fall. Matlab, individual will fall in that prime group as such, and the interest rates at which you will be able to borrow will be the least. If it is between 750 and 800, there might be a marginal difference of 0.1%. There are banks which will not lend if the credit score is less than 600. There are few NBFCs that will lend if the credit score is less than 600. Unko chalta. they charge, जैसे one NBFC based out of Hyderabad beta charges an interest of only 40% per annum only, but then they know for a fact that the loans that they are giving as such beta are high risk. The probability of default is significantly higher. When the probability of default is significantly higher as such, guys, obviously, अब जैसे credit card as such beta, someone misses the due date, then the amount of interest that the credit card company charges is only 3.99% per month. That effectively turns out to about 54-55% in a year. But let's not forget as such beta that the percentage of defaults are also very high. Why do they charge a higher amount of interest is also to incorporate the other bad debts. वो लोग को इंडिविजुअल अकाउंट वाइज प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी कोई नहीं देखता है बेटा, ओवरऑल प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी मैटर्स. इवन इफ 10% ऑफ द पीपल डिफॉल्ट, दे नो दैट दे विल बी एबल टू मेक अ प्रॉफिट. Are you understanding this? So this is how beta interest rate functions. Are we all very clear about this? Yes or no? Any doubt about this? वेद समझ में आ गया बेटा? पक्का? बुक्स खोलो. हाँ, नई बुक बेटा, करेक्ट. क्या बात है. You're not supposed to maintain all in ones as such, guys. Write this in a different notebook in case you've got a different notebook. क्या फर्स्ट पेज छोटा है? राइट द हेडिंग बेटा. कितने छोटे पे? राइट द हेडिंग बेटा, टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. सबको समझ में आया जो पढ़ा है? क्वेश्चंस पूछूं बेटा? यस. थोड़े लोगों को ना अनकंट्रोलेबल नींद आ रही. अरे ऐसे ना देखो यार, इमीडिएटली मेरे को यू मेकिंग इट वेरी ऑब्वियस सर. आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट मी क्या बोल के? व्हाट्स योर नेम बेटा? निधि तेरे पीछे. व्हाट्स योर नेम? You don't know your name? Varsha. You sleepy? No. अच्छा, फेस इज लाइक दैट. खींच के लगाता हूँ ऐसे बेटे से, फिर सडन में उसके वो निधि के पीछे. निधि इतनी है बेटा, यू कैन नॉट हाइड बिहाइंड हर. रीत, टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी गाइस. थोड़ा आदत डालो बे. गो टू बेड प्रॉपरली. 1-2 दिन देखूंगा, ठीक है? उसके बाद में ट्रीटमेंट स्टार्ट. तेरे से शुरू करूंगा बेटा. टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. द परचेसिंग पावर ऑफ मनी. द परचेसिंग पावर ऑफ मनी. द परचेसिंग पावर ऑफ मनी does not remain constant. Purchasing power of money does not remain constant. Does not remain constant. The quantity of goods, the quantity of goods, the quantity of goods that can be purchased with a given amount of money, the quantity of goods that can be purchased with a given amount of money, the quantity of goods that can be purchased with a given amount of money, with a given amount of money will keep changing on account of inflation. Will keep changing on account of inflation. Next line. Hence the cash flows are rising at different points of time. Hence the cash flows are rising at different points of time. Hence the cash flows are rising at different points of time. Cash flows are rising at different points of time. Cannot be directly compared. Cash flows are rising at different points of time. Cannot be directly compared. Cash flows are rising at different points of time, cannot be directly compared. We bring them to a common time base. We bring them to a common time base. We bring them to a common time base for the purpose of comparison. For the purpose of comparison. We bring the cash flows to a common time base for the purpose of comparison. Next line. Interest is a compensation for decline in the purchasing power of money. Interest is a compensation for decline in the purchasing power of money. Decline in the purchasing power of money. The central bank will regulate the rate. The central bank will regulate the rate at which the banks can borrow. The central bank will regulate the rate at which banks can borrow. Based on inflation rates. Based on inflation rates. Next line. As the inflation in India is reducing, repo rate has been brought down from 6.5% to 5.5%. Repo rate has been brought down from 6.5% to 5.5%. ठीक है? Down. Next line. A reduction in repo rate will impact the other short-term and interest rates prevailing in the economy. Will impact the other short-term and long-term interest rates. The other short-term and long-term interest rates prevailing in the economy. Are we clear, guys? Next line. Within an economy, the interest rates within an economy, the interest rates will also depend on the risk profile of the borrower. Will also depend on the risk profile of the borrower. Will also depend on the risk profile of the borrower. Investors expect a higher return if the risk is higher. Investors expect a higher return. Investors expect a higher return. Expect a higher return if the risk is higher. Investors expect a higher return if the risk is higher. Risk is higher. Next. The credit worthiness of an entity. The credit worthiness of an entity. The credit worthiness of an entity. The credit worthiness of an entity is determined by credit rating. The credit rating of credit worthiness of an entity is determined by credit rating. Is determined by credit rating. The credit ratings can be AAA, which is the highest credit rating. इसके बाद में बेटा it can be AA, A, triple B, double B, B and D default. AAA, AA, triple B, double B, B and default. So that is why guys, whenever any company issues any debenture that is a debt security, they will have to specify what is the credit rating of that instrument. Depending on that, Asad beta, they will also decide what is the interest rate that is to be offered. It is not the other way around. Are we understanding this? You first look at the credit rating of the company and then you see guys what is the interest rate that is being offered by these entities. I'll check if there are any documents. पहले यहाँ तक समझ में आ गया ना बेटा? Write down AAA rated companies. AAA rated companies. AAA rated companies will be able to borrow AAA rated companies will be able to borrow at a lower rate. At a lower rate. At a lower rate. One second guys. So the different debt issues that are coming up in this month, the credit rating of the companies are different. Just if you see this, there's one company that has a credit rating of BBB as such guys. The debt interest rate as such that was offered by these company as such guys for a shorter period was about 9%. Longer period beta the interest rate that they offered was 10.25%. 36 months is too short a period as such guys. Interest rates also depend on time period. Lesser period as such beta will have a lesser interest rate, higher period will have a higher interest rate. So ये जो credit rating है बेटा BBB minus, that will determine the interest rates. जैसे यहाँ पे it is 11.5% and 12% at which they are able to borrow money. Are we understanding? Whenever there's a debt issue as such beta, they will have to determine credit rating and that in turn will determine what is the interest rate that they will have to offer. Next line. The other factors that affect interest rates. The other factors that affect interest rates. The other factors that affect interest rates are the amount of government borrowings, the amount of government borrowings, the amount of government borrowings, demand and supply of money, amount of government borrowings, demand and supply of money, amount of government borrowings, demand and supply of money, and the economic policies, and the economic policies, and the economic policies. All right, ये हो गया बेटा as to what are the factors that affect interest rates. Are we all clear about this? So you should never compare the interest rates that are prevailing in one economy with the interest rates that prevail in an other economy as such, guys. It is simply not appropriate because the inflation rates also will be different. Just Japan has usually lower interest rates. Long-term averages better were closer to 0%, but recently because of inflation they've increased it better to 0.25, 0.3% short-term interest rates. Long-term interest rates in Japan were about 0.2% per annum. Now better they've increased to about 0.8, 0.9%. For us guys, short-term interest rates were about 4.5%. They've increased to 6.5, but now gradually they are reducing. US जैसे market का जिसका सिर्फ 0.25 था, they've increased it to 4%, 4.5%. It all depends on what is the inflation rate that is prevailing in their economy. That will determine, guys, what is the interest rate. Are we clear about this? So do not compare what? Interest rates of different economies. You have to also see, guys, what is the inflation rates that are prevailing in that economy. Any doubt in this part? समझ में आ गया, guys? Now someone spoke about currency rate, guys, so that is why not related to the subject as of now, but only for understanding. Let's say that you have a dollar with you today and the exchange rate prevailing in the market is 90 rupees. This $1 is Sadbeta with you and the exchange rate prevailing is 90. So you either deposit, I explained this earlier, no? In AS16, borrowing cost. So interest rates is Sadbeta, let's say prevailing in US is about 4% per annum. Interest rates prevailing in India 6% per annum, short-term interest rates. If you deposit $1 in US, after a year, what is the balance that you will have? If you deposit $1 in US at an interest rate of 4%, you will have $1.04. You do not like $1, take $100, beta. Jo karna hai karo. 90 rupees beta deposited at 6%. What is the balance that you will have in your account after a year? 95.4 rupees. You should be indifferent between depositing in dollars and depositing in rupees. So the likely exchange rate that should prevail after a year will be where $1.04 will buy you 95.4 rupees. This is how interest rates impact exchange rates and not the other way around. So your exchange rate after a year beta will become $1 is equal to 95.4 divided by 1.04. Calculator की बैटरी बाद में बचाओ, निकालो बाहर. 91.73. So the exchange rate is such beta that should prevail as such will be $1 is equal to 91.73 after a year. समझ में आ रहा है? इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं interest rate parity theorem. We will be learning about this in CA final, but just because someone spoke about currency rates, I'm talking about this, that interest rates will have an impact on the currency. This is the reason why we expect Indian currency as such beta to keep decreasing year after year. That should happen because the interest rates in US are lower and the interest rates beta in India are higher. You will normally see that Indian currency will depreciate as such beta year after year and dollar will keep appreciating year after year. That is a normal course. अगर ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है समझो बेटा, it's so easy. Simply borrow money as such beta there at a lesser rate and then deposit in India and make a gain. If the exchange rates do not function as per this, you can always borrow in one country and deposit. It might not be possible for individuals like us, but at the banking level, definitely possible, and they can play with billions of dollars like that, and it will be very easy for them to make money on of this. Are we all clear about this? समझ में आ गया? Now, guys, talking about the concept of interest. Everyone understood what is interest, what is time value of money. Any doubt in that part? Talking about the concept of interest, I know that you've done it at CA foundation level, but pay attention. There are two ways of computing interest, guys. What are the two ways of computing interest? Simple interest and क्या हुआ? वो पसंद है इसका मतलब ये छोड़िए कैसे बात करेंगे तू? Simple interest and compound interest beta. What do you understand by simple interest? Wallet बोल बेटा. हाँ. Principal remains. Compound में principal भारा में तो the interest, the principal wise on which the interest is calculated will always remain same. Under compound interest as such beta, the amount on which interest is calculated will keep changing every period. It can be on a quarterly basis, it can be on an annual basis, it can be on a semi-annual basis. So in case beta you have deposited 1000 rupees at an interest rate of 10% for a period of 3 years, even if there is nothing that you are getting back as such beta, the interest will always be calculated on 1000. So for year 1 you will get 100, for year 2 you will get 100, for year 3 also you will get 100. The accumulated amount that you're going to get as such guys will be 300 plus the 1000 rupees that you have deposited, which will be 1300. So I gave a loan of 1000 rupees as such guys, let's say to Parth. The interest rate is 10%. The amount of interest for the first year is 100 rupees. Did he give back any amount to me at the end of first year? No. So the accumulated balance has become 1100. In spite of that, for the second year, interest is still being calculated on 1000, not on 1100. For the second year also, interest is 100 rupees. For the third year, though the accumulated balance has increased to 1200, interest is still being calculated on 1000. That will become simple interest. The same thing beta if it is compound interest. If you deposit 1000 and let's say beta the interest for the first year is 100, the accumulated balance beta would be 1100. If there is nothing that is repaid, the accumulated balance will remain at 1100. डायरेक्ट एंट्री वालों तुम्हारे लिए ज़्यादा पढ़ा रहा हूँ बेटा, ये फाउंडेशन वालों को आता है ये सब, समझ में आ रहा है? तुम अगर मेडिटेट करें ना बेटा अभी, फिर देखो क्या होगा. सो यू ऐड दैट 110 रुपीज़ साथ बेटा. वर्स्ट पार्ट वही है बेटा, जो ऑलरेडी पढ़ चुका है ना वो लोग इतना सीरियसली दिख रहे मेरे को, अरे अरे हाउ करेक्ट है बोल के, जिनको मालूम भी नहीं क्या चल रहा वो लोग बोल रहे हैं लाइट इंटरेस्ट ही है ना बोल के. It will become 1210 guys. On that, interest will be calculated for the third year and the amount beta would be 121. Your accumulated balance would be 1331. By default, will it be a case of simple interest or compound interest? All the practical calculations in the world as such beta work on a compounding basis, not on a simple interest basis. Are we understanding this? If interest is always calculated on the original principle, even if there is no, see if you are repaying guys, then there is no doubt it should be computed on the remaining amount only. Let's say that 1000 rupees के बाद में interest for the first year is how much? 100, and we repay 100. If you repay 100, the accumulated balance will remain at, हाँ या ना guys? For the second year, ऐसे मत दे क्या वहाँ, I'll take care. First day बोल के मैं कुछ नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है ना? तो ऐसे मेरे को देख के वहाँ देख के अरे सर देखो वो सो रहा बोल के ऐसे करी, I'll take care. 2 दिन जाने दे. So back guys, control कर रहा हूँ ना मैं भी. The amount beta will come down to how much? 1000. For the second year, undoubtedly interest will be calculated only on. So if there is repayment being done beta, you do not talk about the concept of simple interest and compound interest, because the accumulated balance itself is reducing again. When will you talk about simple interest and compound interest? We are not paying that 100 rupees. Accumulated balance is still increasing year after year, and how is the interest calculated in those cases will determine whether it's a case of simple interest or compound interest. Repayment कर रहे हो, that means it is always compound interest. It is not simple interest. जैसे I take a loan of 1000. Interest for the first year is, I repay, total amount कितना हो गया? Second year interest कितना रहेगा? I repay. Next year amount, I repay 100. Is this simple interest or compound interest? Compound interest. Whenever there is repayment done guys, it should be considered as compound interest. Let's say that I borrowed from you. You gave me 1000. At the end of first year, did I give you 100? Can you deposit that 100 elsewhere and generate interest on interest? Are you not compounding your money? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Second year again, did I give you that 100 rupees? Are you able to reinvest that 100 elsewhere? Will you be able to generate interest on interest? See the difference between me not giving you, if I do not give you that 100 rupees better, you will charge me interest on what amount in the next year? You are compounding it. But if I give you 100, you will charge me interest on, but are you not depositing that 100 rupees elsewhere and generating interest on interest? That means for the second year, you are still generating money on 1100. 1000 rupees का interest मेरे से आ रहा है. That 100 rupees का interest you're getting it from somewhere else. Whenever there is repayment, it should not be considered as simple interest. It should always be considered as compound उतना पूछता नहीं guys, but if you understand it, it's better. CA final also will become easier. CA final तो पूरा ही time value of money है, कुछ है ही नहीं और दूसरा. Just the formulas keep changing here and there, but it is all. डरा नहीं रहो बेटा, ये देखो पहले से अब्बा ये साला फाउंडेशन में 12 मार्क, यहाँ पे 50 मार्क, फाइनल में 100 मार्क. So are we all clear about simple and compound interest? Any doubt in this guys? So under compound interest, how do we compute your accumulated balance? जैसे in our example, principal was how much? Rate of interest was. So if I multiply 1000 into 1 plus 10%, that is 1000 into 1.1. वाह, कौन बनाया यार कैलकुलेटर, ये सर पे मारो तुम्हारे. 1000 into 1.1 कैलकुलेटर बना रहे तुम्हारे को. We have become मतलब so dependent. No, sometimes even if it is 2 plus 2, no, you still check. दिमाग 4 बोल रहा है, करेक्ट है कि नहीं है, लेट मी जस्ट वेरीफाई बोल के. हाँ. So 1000 into 1.1 is how much? 1100. This will become the accumulated balance at the end of that 1100 into 1 plus 0.1. That is 1.1 will become 1210. Now I don't trust your brains. You can use calculator. It will become 1210. That will become accumulated balance at the end of second year. You multiply that with 1 plus 0.1 again. 1331. That will become accumulated balance at the end of. So it is 1000 into 1 plus 0.1 whole power 3. Or accumulated balance is your principal amount into 1 plus rate of interest whole power n. So if you are, this is under compound interest. समझ में आ रहा है बेटा सीनियर पटेल? हाँ. If you are depositing 10,000 rupees at an interest rate of 11% for a period of 4 years, you will directly write 10,000 into 1 plus 0.11 whole power 4. Yes or no? तू कैलकुलेटर नहीं ला आज घर से, ले उसका ले कैलकुलेटर यूज कर ले. जयंत, how much is the answer बेटा? 15,000 180 180 180.7. 15,180.7 as such guys is the accumulated balance. समझ में आ रहा है? If you are depositing guys 12,000 rupees at an interest rate of 11.5% guys for 6 years, what will be the accumulated balance? By default compound interest 12,000 rupees 11.5%. ऋत्विक तू पहले बोलेगा बेटा? ठीक है, डन. कैलकुलेटर है? फिर कैसे बोलेगा तू? पहले सोच के तो बोला कर यार. हवाई जहाज चला देगा? हाँ बोल रहा है. आता है क्या? नहीं. नबील कैलकुलेटर दे पीछे. It is mandatory guys that you get a calculator to my class. Are we clear about this? ऋत्विक भाई को सॉल्व करने तो फिर. लास्ट बेंच हियर बेटा, ऑरेंज टी शर्ट, डन. व्हाट्स योर नेम? साकेत. हो गया शुभिका तेरा भी? आंसर आया? कैलकुलेटर नहीं है तेरे पास भी? पूछो किसी से. किसी के पास 2 कैलकुलेटर है बेटा क्लास में? अरे रहते बेटा थोड़े लोग. शेषा, 2 calculators. You're not carrying today. Only 1. You normally carry. ऋत्विक आया बेटा आंसर? तेरे लिए टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ बेटा मैं सबसे. फालतू बातें करनी पड़ रही. 23,000. Keep the change बेटा. 23,000 058. This is the accumulated balance. Are we all clear about this? क्या हुआ? देखो आंसर आया बेटा. फॉर्मूला क्या है बोल के बोल रहा है भाई. फॉर्मूला कैसा है बोल के तो अभी इतना स्लो मोशन में वो पढ़ा रहा था मैं. ये पूरा होने के बाद में एक बच्चा बाजू वाले से पूछा सब लोग ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं? अच्छा वो फॉर्मूला है क्या कहते हैं? Guys, the formula beta is accumulated balance is equal to P into 1 plus R% whole power. where P means the amount of principal that we are depositing. R is the rate of interest in percentage terms. जैसे अगर 10% है समझो 0.1 बोल के लिखते. If it is 11%, obviously क्या लिखेंगे? 0.11. If it is 11.5%, you will write 0.115. N stands for killing it, guys. The number of years, the number of time periods. Are we all clear about this? As of now, annual compounding कर रहा हूँ बेटा. Let's not confuse them. होशियारी मत करो आता बोल के. Are we all clear about this? समझ में आ गया बेटा? देखो मैं लिखाऊंगा ये सब. I do not trust any of them. I'll make everyone write all of this. तू लिख मत. Guys, do not. I will ensure better that whatever is required, I'll give you a note about it. ठीक है? Just in case you think I missed out on something, do let me know. I'll tell you why is it not important. Please write, guys. Side heading. Simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest and compound interest. क्या पढ़ते? छोड़ दो लिखाना. ठीक है बेटा, तू बाहर जा थोड़ी देर. इतना कॉन्फिडेंस किसको है? नाम क्या है बेटा तेरा? छोड़ दो. दोस्त है तेरा? पहचानता उसको? फ्रांसिस का बेटा तू भी? नहीं तो उसके बाजू बैठा ना, एकांश के बाजू. पुराने पल याद आ गया बेटा लोगों को. लिखो साइड. सिंपल इंटरेस्ट एंड कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट. Write down. Under simple interest. Under simple interest. Under simple interest. Interest will always be calculated on. Interest will always be calculated on. Interest will always be calculated on. Always calculated on the original principal deposited. Original principal deposited. Original principal deposited, irrespective of the amount of accumulated balance. Original principal deposited, irrespective of the amount of accumulated balance. Irrespective of the amount of accumulated balance. Accumulated balance. Next. Under compound interest, under compound interest, interest will always be computed. Interest will always be computed. Interest under compound interest, interest will always be computed on the amount of accumulated balance, on the amount of accumulated balance till the end of the previous period. Interest will always be computed on the amount of accumulated balance till the end of the previous period. Accumulated balance till the end of the previous period. Amount of deposit, लिखो बेटा next. Amount of deposit 1000 rupees. Rate of interest 10% per annum. Rate of interest 10% per annum. Time period 3 years. Time period 3 years. Amount of deposit 1000, rate of interest बेटा 10% per annum, time period is 3 years. अगर ये simple interest है, I'll write like this बेटा, sorry. Simple interest and compound interest. I know you know all of this, guys, but it's okay to write it again. We'll be redoing all of this in CA final also. The amount of principal, guys, is 1000. Interest for first year. Whether it is simple interest or compound interest, it does not make a difference, guys. In the first year, it will be 10% of 1000 only. What will be the accumulated balance at the end of first year? Accumulated balance at the end of first year would be 1100 in both the cases. Now, when you calculate interest for second year, guys, कितना हो जाएगा? Under simple interest, it will remain at 100. Here it will be 110. It will be 10% of 1100. Third year, guys, again under simple interest, the amount will remain at 100 rupees only, but under compound interest, it will be 121. So your final accumulated balance is 1300 and 1331. Accumulated balance beta would be 1300 and 1331. Are we all clear about this? बेटा सेकंड बेंच समझ में आ गया? देखो नाम क्या तेरा? कुछ भी डाउट है तो पूछ. ठीक है बेटा. Next example, guys. Are you all done till this point? Next example, compound interest only, beta CI. All right. The amount of deposit is 12,500. Rate of interest is 11.75% per annum. Time period is 4 years. Can you compute the amount of accumulated balance? Amount of deposit 12,500. Rate of interest 11.75%. Time period 4 years. क्या हुआ दिशा? लड़ाई नहीं हुई? तुम लोग लड़ाई नहीं करे? साथ में कैसे बैठे वापस? How much will be the amount of accumulated balance, beta? It will be 12,500 multiplied by, when you say 11.75%, it will be 0.1175. That is basically 11.75 divided by 100. Whole power how many years? 4 years. Accumulated balance, guys, will become 12,500 into 1.1175 whole power 4. How much is this? 19,000.96. How many direct entry students here, beta? अरे हाथ उठाओ रे आराम से. Direct entry students, guys. Now, whatever question that I'm asking, बाकी सब फाउंडेशन वाले. ठीक से बात कर, मारेंगे. क्या आप क्या कि मैं भी ये फोन लो बैटरी ले देंगे. हाँ. Next example, beta, compound interest. The amount of principal, guys, is 24,800. Rate of interest, beta, is 13.02% per annum. Time period is 6 years. Compute accumulated balance. Direct entry students will answer. Others will calculate and shut your mouth. ठीक है बेटा नंदनी. Vansh. He's also talking a lot, no? He's not talking. Yes, बेटा direct entry students आ गया, आंसर आ गया. सिद्धार्थ. तुम तो डायरेक्ट एंट्री है बेटा. एक मिनट. सिद्धार्थ फर्स्ट. 51,000. $1.1302 बेटा कैलकुलेटर पे. When you press into and equal to for the first time, you'll get square of the number. When you press equal to again, you'll get cube. When you press equal to again, you get whole power 4. You press equal to again, you get whole power 5. When you press equal to again, you get whole power 6. अभिषेक आंसर आया बेटा. वेंकटेश को हाँ आया. 1.1302 guys into आया बेटा सिद्धार्थ. 51,687. This will be the accumulated balance. Are we understanding this, guys? If you want whole power 6, you press equal to 5 times. If you want whole power 20, you press equal to 19 times. Any doubt in this? हो गया सबका लिखना? केफ क्या हुआ नहीं हुआ लिखना? Write the next side heading beta. Present value. I will cover multiple compoundings, effective annual rate later, guys. Let me go in the order that I want. Just understand what is the meaning of simple interest and compound interest. The next concept to be understood is present value. Whatever we just computed, guys, was computing accumulated balance using a certain amount of deposit that we are making today. You have a certain sum of money that has been deposited. You are computing what is the accumulated balance that you're going to have in your account on a later date. Present value, guys, on the other side is the reverse calculation. How much money do you need to deposit in order to compute, in order to arrive at a specific amount of money at the end of a specified period? Let's say, guys, that Amit knows he's getting married in a time frame of 5 years. He wants to accumulate an amount of 50,000. Court marriage. He wants to accumulate an amount of 50 lakh rupees as such, guys, in a time frame of 5 years. The interest that is going to generate on his deposits beta is 12% per annum, and the time period is 5 years. We have to reverse calculate as to what will be the amount of principal that will be needed to fund this amount in a time frame of 5 years. So the formulas are exactly the same, guys. You will still write accumulated balance is equal to P into 1 plus R percent whole power n. It is just that in place of accumulated balance, you have an amount of 50 lakhs. That 50 lakhs will be equal to P into 1 plus 0.12 whole power 5. So we'll write principal amount as 50 lakhs divided by, you either compute the value of 1.12 whole power 5 first, guys, or you first arrive at the amount of 1 divided by 1.12 whole power 5. समझ में आ रहा है? कैफ तेरा कैलकुलेटर उसके पास ही रहता है. So you write 50 lakhs divided by 1.12 whole power 5. आंसर आ गया बेटा. कितना ही अमाउंट? 28 lakhs 134, guys. रुकना बेटा, कहाँ जा रहा है? So you will have to deposit an amount of 28,37,134 today in order to receive 50 lakhs. Guys, let's not forget that all of this is related to financial management. We will have all of these concepts, guys, in different chapters. So there will be one chapter that will talk about capital budgeting. It will ask us to decide whether we should be investing in a specific project or not. Let's say, beta, that I come up with a business proposal and I tell you that there is an investment that will require you to put in 27 lakhs and you will get 50 lakhs after 5 years. Okay? You will have to deposit how much today? 27 lakhs. And how much will you receive after 5 years? you would want to know whether it is an appropriate decision or not. There are two ways of calculating this. Either calculate, if you deposit 27 lakh rupees elsewhere, how much money will you have in your account at the end of 5th year? Compare that with 50 lakhs. Or compute how much is the amount of deposit that is required to be made today to receive 50 lakhs after 5 years. Just we just calculated that. Normally you will have to deposit how much? 28 lakhs 37,000. But the investment opportunity that you got now requires an investment of only, you are willing to deposit 2837, but someone is asking you to deposit only, will you not accept that investment opportunity? And the answer is definitely yes. This is what I meant when I said we will have to bring the cash flows to a common time base for the purpose of comparison. I will either have to compute present values, or I will have to compute accumulated balances. We never compute accumulated balances. We always prefer computing present values. If you want to define the value of any security, value of any commodity, you will not talk about the value in future value terms. You will always want to express value as on the current date, present value. इसीलिए बेटा prima facie every technique that we have as such बेटा will be based on present values only. It will not be based on accumulated balances. Are we all understanding this? ये समझ में आया present value का मतलब क्या है? So how do you define present value बेटा? क्या सपने सोच रहा है बेटा? देख रहा है? हाँ, अरे देखो रियलाइज हुआ मैं तेरे से बात कर रहा हूँ बोल के अभी. सॉरी बेटा, सपना खराब हो गया. What is present value? Present value, guys, is the amount of money that you need to deposit today in order to receive a certain sum of money on a later. Are you all clear about this? Any doubt in this? Tuvalota Patel. If you were to receive an amount of 80 lakhs after 10 years, and you know that your deposits will fetch you an interest of 11.5% per annum. You want 80. How many of you do not have calculators, guys? Please raise your hands. जरा घर जाके पूरे calculations वापस practice करो बेटा. It's very important that you also have the speed of calculation. It is not just getting the final answer. You know that you want to accumulate 80 lakhs, guys, in a time frame of 10 years, and the rate of interest is 11.5% per annum. How will you compute, guys? This 80 lakhs should be equal to some amount that you deposit today, that into rate of interest is 11.5%. Time gap is 10 years. The amount of deposit beta will be 80 lakhs divided by 1.115 whole power 10. You either compute 1.115 whole power 10 and then write divided by equal to, so that it will invert the value, or directly start 1.115, press divided by twice, press equal to. I said equal to 10 times you will have to press. You directly get the value of 1 divided by 1.115 whole power 10. Either you compute 1.115 whole power 10 and then you invert the value, guys, Lakshita, or you compute the value of, किस पे ध्यान है बेटा? Why are you so distracted? Sure. Or you compute 1 divided by 1.115 whole power 10 like this, guys. How much is the amount beta? Laksh, कितना आया आंसर? कितना आया? 26 lakhs 650 651. So if you deposit 26 lakhs 93,651 rupees today, we are expected to receive 80 lakhs in a time frame of 10 years at an interest rate of 11.5%. So this 26 lakhs will now become the present value. Calculator. ये आया, पहले वाला आया. कौन सा वैल्यू चाहिए देखो? ऐसे बस मेरा नाम आते कि समझ जाते नहीं. Guys, is everyone clear with the calculation? Are you sure, guys? Now, based on this present value beta, we have something called as a present value factor, PVF. present value factor is the amount of deposit that you will have to make today in order to receive 1 rupee. I will make you write present value with all of these examples. So present value factor is the amount of deposit that you have to make today in order to receive 1 rupee after a specified period of time. That means accumulated balance is 1 rupee. All the calculations are exactly the same, just that you will have to take accumulated balance as 1 rupee. How much should you deposit today to receive 1 rupee on a later date? Is present value factor, also known as present value interest factor. अपने ICI materials will follow PVIF. I prefer directly writing PVF. Does not make any difference whether it is PVF or PVIF. It is how much should you deposit today in order to receive 1 rupee beta on a later date. Any doubt in this part? So if the interest rate is 10% and the time period is 5 years, the amount of money that you will have to deposit will be 1 rupee is equal to principal amount into 1 plus 0.1 whole power 5. सुन लो एक सेकंड, बाद में कैलकुलेट करो. So P will be equal to 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 5. समझ में आ रहा है? Yes or no? तू शुरू कर बेटा कैलकुलेटर पे, सब शुरू करोगे. You will write 1.1 press divided by twice, 1.1 press divided by twice, and then press equal to. When you press equal to, guys, what you get is 1 divided by 1.1. You will see that the value is 0.9091. When you press equal to again, what you get is 1 divided by 1.1 whole square, which is 0.8264. When you press equal to again, you will get 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 3, which will be 0.7513. You press equal to again, you get 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 4, which is 0.6830. You press equal to again as such beta, you get 1 divided by 1.10 power whole power 5 beta, which is 0.6209. So if you deposit 0.6209 today, you are going to receive 1 rupee after 5 years at an interest rate of. If you deposit 0.6830 today, you will receive 1 rupee, but after how many years? At an interest rate of 10%. If you deposit 0.7513 today, you will receive 1 rupee, but after at an interest rate of 10% again. All of this is subject to interest rate being 10%. You deposit 0.9091, you will still get 1 rupee, but after at an interest rate of 10%. So when you're computing present value of 1 rupee, it is called as a present value factor. ये समझ में आया कैसे कैलकुलेट करना है? कैलकुलेटर पे आया नहीं आया अभी? Now beta, if I write present value factor at 10% for the 5th year, it means I am receiving 1 rupee after 5 years and the rate of interest is. This is what is written as 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 5. This is what you got as 0.6209. If you write present value factor, same formula guys, accumulated balance is equal to P into 1 plus R whole power n. Accumulated balance is 1 rupee, principal is missing, rate of interest is 10%, whole power 5 years. You will write that as 1 divided by 1.11 whole power 5. If you want us to change your expressions, we're not playing cards. Are we clear guys? वो भी नहीं समझ में आया. Can you please explain what do you mean by we are not playing cards? Abhishek, समझ में आया बेटा? Present value factor at 11% for 4th year will mean 1 divided by 1 plus 0.11 whole power 4. ये कैलकुलेट करने के लिए you will have to write 1.11 press divided by twice, press equal to how many times? You will directly get the value of 1 divided by 1.11 whole power 4. Calculators है, use करो, आंसर लेके आओ अभी. आया आंसर ये? How much is the value guys? 6587. The present value guys of this is 0.6587. Are we understanding this? क्या हो भरत? क्यों कर रहा? इसको दिखाऊंगा बेटा मैं भी. Present value factor guys at 12.5% for third year. How are we going to calculate this? ये मजाक में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. This literally every single question in capital budgeting in which we are going to use present value factors. It is important that you understand how do we compute present value factors. मजाक में मत लो. समझ में आ रहा है? 1 divided by, you will write 1 plus 0.125 whole power 3. 0.7023. If you deposit 0.7023 today, you're going to receive 1 rupee beta after 3 years, provided the rate of interest is how much? 12.5%. Are we all understanding this again? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? तुम लोग को आया कैलकुलेशन करना सबको? क्या चल रहा? अरे तू वैसे present value factor guys at 11.75% for the 8th year. आ गया सबको आंसर? डायरेक्ट एंट्री स्टूडेंट्स पाटिल कितना है? 0.411 आगे 116 के आगे क्या है? 1116. So 112. Always round it off to 4 decimal points unless otherwise given. Present value fact. 1116 है बेटा. 1 के आगे 6 है. 5th decimal point. That is why that last one will be rounded off to 2. वही रे भाई. 0.4112. Are we clear about this? Is everyone clear about the computation of present value factors? Now where do we use present value factors beta? It's to compute present value of cash flows. थोड़े लोग सडन में रियलाइज करते रहते हैं हम लोग पागलों के जैसे हंसते जा रहे हैं देख रहा है हाँ क्या देखा ही तुम लोग guys put proper faces बेटा ठीक है there's no laughing competition here. ये क्या सोचते हो हंसते रहते तेरे को हंसना है बेटा सोच यहाँ देख के मत हंस यहाँ वहाँ तो भी देख ठीक है दिमाग में कुछ तो चलते रहता. Are we all clear about this guys? Now how do we use present value factors is to directly compute present value of cash inflows. Let's say beta that after a year you're going to receive an amount of 10 lakhs. The rate of interest is 10%. Alright, you're going to receive 10 lakhs after 1 year. How do I compute the present value of this? I will write ऊपर देखूंगा मैं and I'll write 10 lakhs divided by 1 plus 0.1 whole power 1 only. Yes or no? This can be written as सुनो आंसर नहीं चाहिए मेरे को. This can be written as 10 lakhs into present value factor at 10% for 1 year. They will give me present value factor. They will tell me that this is the cash flow after 1 year. All I have to do is just multiply that cash flow with the present value factor and I will get the present value of cash inflow. Are you all getting it? Yes or no? या तो 10 lakhs divided by 1.1 करो या फिर you will directly write 10 lakhs multiplied by present value factor. If they give us present value factors as such guys, I do not have any other option. I will have to multiply with the present value factors that are given in the question. Otherwise marks will not be given. मतलब once again but I'll just show you how that ये देखो they will give us certain random cash flows and they will give us discounting factors at 16%. ये जो discounting factors at 16% है बेटा these are nothing but present value factors. So this first year का factor is 1 divided by 1.16. You can check on your calculators. 1.16 press divided by twice press equal to. You will get 0.8622. You press equal to again you get present value factor for the second year 0.743. You press equal to again you get present value factor for the third year, for the fourth year, for the fifth year. They will give us present value factors like this. They will give us cash flows. All we have to do is multiply those cash flows with the present value factor so that we compute present value of cash inflows. Are we understanding this guys? समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? जैसे अभी we computed 10% बेटा that 0.9091, 0.8264 and all of that. So समझ में आ गया? What is the use of present value factor? So if you have to compute present value of any cash inflow, all you have to do is multiply that cash flow with the present value cash factor, guys. Let's say year 4 में you're going to receive an amount of 15 lakhs. How can I write the present value of this? Either 10% ही बेटा, ठीक है? Either I write 15 lakhs divided by what? 1.1 whole power 4, or I simply write 15 lakhs multiplied by present value factor at 10% for the 4th year. That will give me the present value of that 15 lakhs. Is this clear? Yes or no? Again, if I am receiving an amount of 20 lakhs in year 6, how will I write present value if the interest rate is still 10%? 20 lakhs divided by 1.1 whole power 6, or you write 20 lakhs multiplied by present value factor at 10% for the, this is how you compute present values. So present value factors are used to compute present value of a single cash flow. There is one cash flow that you are getting. Just say if I give you multiple cash flows, year 1 mein beta you have to receive 10 lakhs. Year 2 mein you have to receive 15 lakhs. Year 3 mein you're receiving 20 lakhs. Year 4 mein you're receiving 25 lakhs. And I ask you to compute present value of all of these cash flows. You'll write 10 lakhs into present value factor for the first year, 15 lakhs into present value factor for the second year, 20 lakhs into present value factor for the third year, 25 lakhs into present value factor for the fourth year. Add all of those present values and you get total present value of cash inflows. Yes or no? समझ में आया क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Everyone understood what is present value factor and present value of a cash flow. If you're clear with that, beta, we'll write notes and then we'll move on to annuity. समझ में आया नहीं आया? Any doubt in this part? Let's write, guys. What is the last thing that you've written? Siding लिखे बस. लिखो बेटा notes. Present value के नीचे. It is the amount of deposit. It is the amount of deposit. It is the amount of deposit to be made today. Amount of deposit to be made today. Amount of deposit to be made today to receive a certain sum of money. To receive a certain sum of money on a later date. To receive a certain sum of money on a later date. To receive a certain sum of money on a later date. To receive a certain sum of money on a later date. उसके नीचे बेटा accumulated balance equals P into 1 plus R% whole power N. This can be replaced with the word future value. This can be replaced with the word present value. So future value will be equal to present value into 1 plus R whole power N. So you can write present value as how much? Future value divided by 1 plus R% whole power N. 1 plus R% whole power N. Example 1. R is 10% per annum. Time period is 5 years. Accumulated balance is 30 lakhs. यहाँ पे कोई wording पे खेलेगा नहीं बेटा, like foundation MCQs. Foundation MCQs, it is all about the wording that they use in the question. Here the questions are straightforward. No matter what happens, you have to compute present value only. It's all related to investment decisions. So you will never have a confusion about which formula is to be used. We all know that we have to compute present values. You have to realize whether it is a case of annuity or whether it's a case of different cash flows. बस उतना ही. So here guys, you're going to write present value as 30 lakhs divided by 1.1 whole power 5. 30 lakhs divided by 1.1 whole power 5. हो गया राघव तेरा? हाँ बेटा, कोई सर बोल के पूछो. नहीं नहीं बेटा, क्लास में बहुत राघव है. ऑल द राघव्स प्लीज रेज योर हैंड. हाँ ठीक है बेटा. 0 कुछ भी चलेगा ना. हाँ. Someone is very keen on knowing a lot of people in the class. क्या बेटा, सबसे दोस्ती करनी है ना, या फिर you want everyone to notice you? एक बार खड़े हो जा. Guys देख लो बेटा, इससे दूर रहना है. 30 lakhs divided by 1.1 whole power 5. How much is the value, guys? 18 lakhs. Round it off to the nearest rupee, guys. Unless the cash flow is about 100 rupees. If the cash flow is about 100 rupees, we will round off to 2 decimal points. If it is about 1000 rupees, you can round it off to 1 decimal point or 2 decimal points. But anything more than that, Asad beta, freely, directly round it off to the nearest rupee. Are we clear? Sometimes they will give us cash flows in lakhs in the question. We will round it off in lakhs only 2 decimal points. We'll not even go beyond that. This is allowed beta. थोड़े cases में वो लोग खुद ही question में बोलते ताकि every student should get the same answer. Everyone follows a different rounding off principle as such, but all of them will start getting different answers. So they will specify that in the question itself. Calculations to be made up to 2 decimal points in lakhs bolega. That means I'll write 12.45, 12.46. That is how you're going to write the answers as. Are we clear about Ray? Are we clear about this? The second example, guys. शर्म नहीं है वहां देखना भी ऊपर तो 11.5% beta, time period 4 years, guys. Accumulated balance 45 lakhs. Present value will be equal to 45 lakhs divided by 1.115 whole power 4. Present value, guys, will be 45 lakhs divided by 1.115 whole power 4. 29 lakhs. 11,000. 475. 29 lakhs 11,475, guys, will be the present value. Are we all clear about this? Any doubt in this, kids? Next, guys, one more example. R is equal to 13.02% per annum. Time period as such beta is 8 years. Accumulated balance, guys, is equal to 62,50,000. R is 13.02% per annum. Time period is 8 years. Accumulated balance 62,50,000. Present value, guys, will be equal to 62,50,000 divided by 1.1302 whole power 8. 62,50,000 divided by these amounts, beta. Are you all clear about this? What's the present value, beta? 670. आया सबको ये? Now write the side heading, guys. Present value factor. Present value factor. Present value factor. रॉनित समझ में आ गया बेटा? कोई डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है आपने? हाँ श्योर बोल बेटा, कोई भी बात कर रहा है तो बोल. Next, write down beta. It is a present value of. It is a present बेटा ब्रैकेट्स में ये लिख लेना ना प्लीज, वो भूल गया मैं. PVF और दूसरा क्या बोला था? PVIF. I stands for interest. PVF or PVIF. Now it is the present value of 1 rupee receivable on a later date. It is the present value of 1 rupee receivable on a later date. 1 rupee receivable on a later date. Accumulated balance is equal to 1 rupee. Present value is missing. Accumulated balance is equal to 1 rupee. Present value is missing. So if present value factor is for 10% third year, it means 1 rupee will be equal to present value into 1 plus 0.1 whole power 3. So you will write this as 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 3. कैसे calculate करो बोला मैं? You will press 1.1 and then divided by twice equal to कितने बार? 3 times. And you will get present value factor at 10% for the third year, which will be equal to beta 0.7513. Present value factor at 10% for third year. नीचे brackets में you will write 1 rupee is equal to present value into 1 plus 0.1 whole power 3. This in turn will be equal to 1.1 divided by 1.1 whole power 3, which is 0.7513. Are we all clear about this? Present value factor beta at 11% for the fourth year. Again, this would mean that 1 rupee is the accumulated balance, present value is missing, rate of interest is 11%, time period is 4 years. So this beta will be equal to 1 divided by 1.1 whole power 4. You will type 1.11, press divided by twice and then press equal to 4 times. 0.65 राउंड ऑफ कर रहे हो ना फोर्थ डेसिमल पॉइंट को 0.6587. प्रेजेंट वैल्यू फैक्टर के 12.02% अगर है एंड फॉर द सिक्स्थ ईयर present value factor at 12.02% for the sixth year, you will write 1 rupee is equal to present value into 1 plus 0.1202 whole power 6. So this beta will be equal to 1 divided by 1.1202 whole power 6. 50 round off करें वापस. So this will be 1.1202 divided by twice, press equal to 6 times. This will give us present value factor guys at 12.02% for the sixth year. Any doubt in this? We use present value factor beta to compute present value of any cash flow. So whatever is the amount of cash flow that you're going to receive on a later date guys, that multiplied by present value factor will become the present value of cash inflow. ये लिखे सब लोग यहाँ तक. Now let's say beta that we are computing, pay attention, we are computing present value of 20 lakhs. I will write 20 lakhs divided by 1 plus r% whole power. I can also write this as 20 lakhs multiplied by present value factor at r% for the nth year. Likewise, if I am computing present value of say 45 lakhs, I am going to write 45 lakhs divided by 1 plus r% whole power n. This can also be written as 45 lakhs multiplied by present value factor at r% for the nth year. Are we understanding this? So we use present value factors in order to compute present value of any amount of cash flow. Is that clear? Copy these two also. Timing क्या बोले थे आज 4 o'clock? सही में 3:31 हो रहा है अभी. गया बेटा तो आज फर्स्ट डे था बोल के बेटा it was 10:30 to 3:30. Tomorrow also same बोले. So it will be somewhere around 3:34 as such guys. ठीक है. परसों से it will start at morning 7 and will go until evening 4:30. 4:30. 4:30. आपको जाना है, चले जाओ बेटा. सीए एंटर क्या है, हर 4 महीने में एक बार आता है पागल. लिख लिया ये. Write these present values, guys. Done. That's it for the day, guys. To revise, all the ones who did not bring calculators, calculate all of these amounts once and ensure that you bring calculators to class from tomorrow. Online students, end of the session. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.